Ohayou gozaimasu. Good morning, everyone. Hello to my audience. Let me introduce today's interviewee. Her name is Rochelle Kopp. Most of you must know her already. And she's a founder and the managing principal of her own company, Japan Interculture Consulting. So first of all, I want her to introduce herself. And since Rochelle and myself, are the bilingual, Japanese, English bilingual, so we can talk both languages. And we want to know about her career and history and the involvement of Japan and how she started an intercultural consulting company, both in the US and in Japan. And also, she is one of the founder of the anti-Jingogai and Basai woods cutting project, and she has been a leader of the project. And I admire all her activities in the past 30 years, more than 30 years. She established her company in '94. So then let me introduce Rochelle Kopp.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rochelle Kopp, and I'm going to do this interview bilingually. そして今日はまず皆さんこんにちは。はじめまして、ロシャル・カップと申します。
有名よね。有名。
日本語と英語両方切り替えて行いたいと思いますね。The first question was how I got involved with Japan. So my hobby when I was in high school was art. And I was...
Oh, she's from Chicago.
Oh, yes, I'm from Chicago. Yeah, so I'm from Chicago. When I grew up in Chicago, my hobby was artwork. And I was fascinated by Japanese art. The Art Institute of Chicago has a lovely collection of Japanese art, especially a lot of really nice ukiyo-e prints. And I would go there and I just thought they were so wonderful. And I grew up near the Chicago Botanical Garden, and they frequently had ikebana exhibits. And I just thought the ikebana were so amazing. They were nothing like the Western flower arrangements I'd ever seen. And I had friends who were Japanese American, and I would go to their houses, and their parents were really nice, and they had all sorts of really cool Japanese things.
So you already started your early intercultural activities when you were like a junior high or high school student.
Right, yes. So that's where I originally got interested. 日本との、ご縁はどういったものだったのかよく聞かれますけれども、私はシカゴ育ちで、シカゴ美術館にとても良い浮世絵の集まりがあって、それを見に来て、いつも感動しました。私は絵を描いたり、版画を作ったりしていましたので、美術に興味があってて、そして住んでた場所の近くにシカゴの植物園もあって、そこへ行けば、生け花の展覧会を定期的に行ってて、生け花は本当に素晴らしい。もう今まで、その時までに見てた西洋のフラワーアレンジメントと全然違うもので、とても感動して、そして友達の間には日系アメリカ人もいまして、そしていろんな形で日本のことに接触して、日本のことかっこいいね、面白いね、美的感覚の面で面白いと思うようになりました。So then I went to college, and I had decided that I wanted to have a career in business.
Oh, you went to college in the US?
In the United States, yes.
But how you have become bilingual?
Well, that's how I started studying Japanese when I was in college. And I chose Japanese because I thought I'd like to have a career in business. And at that time, Japanese companies were expanding their operations in the United States, and they were importing more, etc., and also establishing operations like factories. And I thought, if I learn Japanese, it will be useful for business in the future, and also really nice from the cultural side. I'd like to read the Japanese written on those ukiyo-e, was my thought. I still can't read them that well, but
okay,
because they're Kuzureiji, right? But anyways, I thought I could enjoy both aspects. So that's how I started studying Japanese when I was in college. And the funny thing is, when I started studying Japanese, my mother said, "Why are you doing that? You were a terrible student when you studied French in high school. What makes you think you can learn Japanese?" And I said, "Let me try." And she was right. I was really bad at French, but I liked Japanese much, much more. And I really enjoyed the classes. The teachers were wonderful.
Did it happen around the late 80s?
Late 80s, exactly. So that was a popular time when many people started studying Japanese. So
I was one of the teachers.
Okay, there you go. So you know that time period well, right? それでまあね、なぜ日本語を勉強し始めたかということもよく聞かれますけれども、大学の時にビジネス関連のキャリアをしたいと思って、だから美術に関心があってて、ビジネスに日本語が役立つだろうと思ったんです。その時に日本の企業がどんどんアメリカに輸入したり、アメリカに工場を作ったりしていて、もう将来日本語できたら使えるだろうと思って、でありながら行けばの特権とか、いろんな興味にも関連する。
It must be the timing of the bubble. Bubbles,
The getting of the bubble, yes, exactly. そうですね。So then, during college, I did an internship in Japan.
Oh, you
so
did?
That was my
Where?
first time in
What did you
Kyoto.
do?
In Kyoto. So I was very lucky. My first visit to Japan was Kyoto.
Lucky you.
Yes. And I worked for Fushimi Shinyo Kinko, a very local bank. And I wore the bank uniform like the other employees.
Wow.
And lived in the women's dormitory.
Oh.
So I had a very authentic experience at a local Japanese company. And we went to visit their customers. And their customers were the kimono manufacturer and the doll maker and Kiyomizu Dera. So I went behind the scenes.
Fushimi as well.
Yes, they were Fushimi Shinyo-kinko, so we went to Fushimi Inari Taisha before it became famous as a tourist spot. I went there when there would be nobody there, and now it's always crowded. So I had a really great experience, and it was very interesting being in a Japanese company. その当時大学で組織行動学を勉強していて、日本の会社の中でいると、その組織行動とか、その企業文化を観察することもすごく興味深くて、
Organizational behavior.
そうですね、organizational behavior. So I was lucky. I got to study with Rosabeth Moss Cantor, who's a very famous person in that field. So my introductory course was with her. So that was very fortunate for me.
Lucky you.
Yes, I was very lucky. I was very lucky. So after college, I returned to my hometown of Chicago, and I worked for a consulting firm for 2 years. And that was a great experience. I loved being a consultant. But I really wanted to go back to Japan and get more experience. So I went back to Tokyo, and I got a job at Yasuda Shintaku Ginko at their headquarters at another bank. While since I worked at Fushimi Shinyo, they had some relation with Fushimi Shinyo, and that made them more comfortable. Oh, you know about Japanese banks. So yeah, I worked at Yasuda Trust for 2 years, and I was Kokusai Koho Tanto.
Oh, was it in Tokyo?
In Tokyo, at their headquarters at Gofukubashi, which is near Nihonbashi.
That was the early 90s.
Late 80s, early 90s, 88 to 90.
Then the bubble burst?
Just when the bubble was bursting, yes. So I saw the burst start.
Oh.
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
I witnessed, yes.
Yeah, ちょうどバブルの時に、そいつバブルが始めた時に言いましたけれども、それもバブルの日本も経験できたことも一つ良い経験でした。そして安田信託で働く時に、ちょうど海外拠点も開いてた最中でした。もうロンドンとか香港とかニューヨークとかあちらこちらに現地法人と支店を作ったりして、たくさんの外国人を採用していました。でも今まで外国人部下を持ったことない上司。
They don't know how to manage.
No, they didn't.
No.
それにもう その外国人も日本の組織で働いたことないので、日本の組織はなぜこのようにこのことをするのかはあんまり分からなくて、もうお互いに伴うことがすごくあったんですね。
As a 国際 relationship banker, so you help them from Japan side.
Yes.
That's so funny because I've been based in New York, trying to help the Japanese Juzain. They never resided in foreign countries, how to manage the local people. So then there's so much trouble and class action happened. You know, so many lawsuits against the Japanese Juzain.
A lot of lawsuits.
With the other side.
Yes.
Yeah,
a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah.
So I heard about all those problems. And so I saw firsthand in my bank what was happening. But then I heard similar problems in other places and sometimes worse, lawsuits and other things. And I said, maybe I can help. Maybe I can help people avoid some pain. So that was my motivation.
Good.
何か役立てられるかないじゃないかと思ってて、もう多くの企業がそのように海外に展開して、多くの日本人と外国人が一緒に働くようになると、もういろいろ苦労するので、私は少しでもそれを、予防対策を提供することができれば、私は良い貢献できるのではないかと思ったんです。
それが異文化の
そうですね。
トラブルシューター。
トラブルシューターですね。はい、トラブルシューター。
That's interesting. I was in New York. I've been in New York. Was doing the same thing opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was a troubleshooter.
Right. And that's kind of what I became. So I went back to the United States, and I'd always wanted to get an MBA. So I got an MBA.
From which college?
University of Chicago.
Oh, you did.
And then while studying there, I started to do research on Japanese multinationals and their cultural challenges and their human resource management issues. And so on the basis of that, I ended up writing an academic journal article and my first book in Japanese and my first book in English.
About MBA?
About the cultural issues for Japanese folks. So, 最初の日本のの本が雇用摩擦という本でした。そして英語の方が The Rice Paper Seeding という本でした。
雇用摩擦と、
はい。The Rice Paper Seeding。
The Rice Paper Seeding。
はい。それは外国人向けに日本の会社で働く方法のような感じで。はい。それで
気がけですね。草分けの方ですね。
それ結構早い段階でそういったテーマで本を書いてて、そしてしばらく別のコンサルティング会社で働いた後は独立して自分の会社を作りました。それは94年でしたので、かなり長くやってきています。
で、その頃に私は初めてロシェルさんにニューヨークでお会いしてるんですね。Because she gave a lecture, speech at the 紀ノ国屋 bookstore in New York. ロックフェラーセンターの中に紀ノ国屋書店があって、そこで講演された時に私は彼女に初めて会ったことを覚えてます。で、その時に at the same time, I was working for the publisher, Japanese publisher, and you published your own books from the same publisher.
Right, yes. That was one of them. Still maybe one of my bestsellers. The book called called 反省しないアメリカ人を扱う方法。
反省しないアメリカ人を扱う方法。歩くから出てますね。
そうですね。
And then I was a Chuzain, the US rep of 歩く in New York. So it's so interesting. American based in Tokyo published the 反省しないアメリカ人を雇用する方法 in the Japanese. And I've been in New York and taking care of Chuzain who've been filed a lawsuit against them and the companies. And I was a Shiho law interpreter.
Oh, very interesting. Yeah, so you probably saw lots of those problems, right?
Yes.
Lots of those problems. So really, since that time, I've been going back and forth between the United States and Japan, and I've been teaching cross-cultural training seminars. I've been doing a lot of leadership and management seminars because I realized that those were very important topics, how to be an effective global leader. I do diversity and sexual harassment prevention type training, do a lot of executive coaching, and I also do a lot of team building seminars.
Both Japanese and English.
Yes, in both in Japanese and English.
And I'm interested in all of these seminars. Can you explain a little bit about your lineup?
Oh, certainly, sure. So she's looking, this is my business card. And she's looking at the back. On the back of my business card, I have a list of my seminars. これが私の名刺で、名刺の裏には、弊社のセミナーのリストがありますけど、全てじゃないけど、まず最初ここにあるのが、外国人と効果的に働く方法。日本人向けに、文化の違いを理解することによって外国人と一緒に働くときにどうやってギャップを乗り越えてより良いビジネス結果につながるかっていうテーマなんですけれども、一般的にいろんな国の外国人向けあるいは特定の文化に関して例えばアメリカ人とうまく働く方法とかイギリス人とうまく働く方法とかいろんなバージョンがありますけれども、そして弊社には各国の講師がいまして、インド文化のセミナーはインド人が日本語で教える。イギリスの文化だったらイギリス人が日本語で教える。中国の文化だったら中国人が中国語で教えるとか、そういったようなようにやってます。
ね、実践的、practical ですね。
そうですね、実践的、それがすごく重要な点。
Yes.
Practical is very important. そして次の方はこれは私のすごく好きなテーマですけどチームの成果を高めるサーバントリーダーシップこれがすごく私の好きな Serve and Leadership これがすごく私が大事だと思っているテーマで、従来のリーダーシップの考えが上の人が下の人に対してもう上からの目線で命令するっていう感じがしますね。
上位形。
そうですね。はい。でもそれがもう今の時代に合わないものですね。なので、アメリカの最先端の企業、特にシリコンバレーの会社がサーバントリーダーシップを取り入れています。サーバントは手伝いするもの。だからサーバントとリーダーシップはちょっと変な組み合わせのように聞こえるかもしれませんけれども、リーダーが働いてる人みんなをサポートしてあげる、良い働く環境を整ってそして誰か働きながら問題を直面すればそれを解決するように働きかけたりそして働いてる従業員に対してフィードバックしてこれが良かったこれは改善する部分があるとか、オリンピック選手のコーチみたいな存在ですね。
だからリーダーシップは威張るんじゃなくてむしろサーバントのようにエンプロイーや部下に使える人という意味ですよね。
そうですね。
だからサーバントは日本語では奴隷って訳す時もあるけどそうじゃないですね。
サポートする人ですね。
お使いする人とかサポートする人
そうですね。はい、そうですね。ですからリーダーとしてのなんか全然違うモデルになりますね。で私がいろんな日本企業を見ると多くの日本のマネージャーがリーダーシップの新しいコンセプトを求めています。なぜかというと今までのリーダーのようにあまりなりたくない。自分の今までのリーダーがなんか怒鳴ったりとか一方的に命令したり
ハラスメント
パワーハラスメントしたりとか、もう自分がそのような人になりたくないと思っている日本人が非常に多いですね。でもサーバントリーダーシップだったら良いリーダーになりながらあんまり好きじゃない今までの上司のようにならなくてもいいということになりますので、すごく日本に役立つんですね。特に私が感じるのは女性にとって非常に役立つものです。もう特に私が多くの日本人の女性から聞くのがマネージャーになるかどうかちょっと違和感があってマネージャーになってもなんか落ち着かない面があるそうです。なぜかというとマネージャーという言葉が、その今までの命令ばかりするあんまり好きじゃないようなタイプで自分がそのような人になりたくないっていう気持ちを持っている方非常に多いですね。ですからサーバントリーダーシップだったらもう大体モデルになりますね。ですから特に女性にとってそれが役立つコンセプトになってます。
向いてるね、女性がね。
そうですね。
Suitable for women's leaders.
そうですね。はい。
Female executives.
そうですね。ですから多くの日本の女性からこれがリーダーシップだったらそれも私ができるんですね。はい。そういう声が多いので、 まあでもこういうサーバントリーダーシップはもう私はまあ宣教師のような感じでぜひぜひ広まりたいし、そのテーマで今本を書いてる最中です。
楽しみね。
はい。
はい。Then how about any program against harassment, like a prevention of harassment, sexual harassment,
Yes.
power harassment
Yes,
program? You do?
yeah, so we have that. We have sexual harassment prevention, include power harassment
Are those
prevention.
video tape or lectures or
We
seminars?
have both.
You do.
So we do live seminars and we also have some video programs too.
You do?
Yeah. So
That's what I want you
so
to.
I have a lot of video-based training also that I provide. So,
Produced by yourself?
yes, produced by myself, and so it's me talking basically. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I have a lot of those types of training materials.
So we look forward to having your lecture and the videos at the new school. It's called the Schola Donna Academia.
I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great concept. It's a great concept. 本当に素晴らしいコンセプトだと思
あ
います。
りがとう。じゃあ助けてください。I need your support.
Oh, I'm happy to help.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
So now we have 10 minutes to go about the Jingu Gayan
yes.
Basai
Okay, yes.
Ansai project.
This is kind of my side project. My side project, my hobby.
And non-profit.
Right,
It's not
nonprofit.
business.
Total volunteer activities.
But
So
it's very important because she has been the leader of this activity, so that's very important. And I also want to know the progress of the TASO, the lawsuit against them for prevention,
Right.
to stop cutting.
right. So
Can you explain a little bit
let me
about that?
explain about this. So I think everyone is probably familiar with Jingu Gayan. It's part of Meiji Jingu. Meiji Jingu has the Nyan near Harajuku and the Gayan. So two parts from when it was established. So Jingu Gayan was created through donations from the public. Kenkin, Kenboku, and Kinro Hoshi. 100,000 people for Kinro Hoshi.
100 years ago.
Yeah, 100 years ago. So lots of people. So lots of people say, oh yeah, my grandfather, I helped, plant those trees.
And
So-
our studio is right, located in the middle of the heart of the area of
Right,
Jingu
yes.
Gayan. We can see the National Stadium, タクボさん。後で撮ってね、それね、このエリアをね、and 新宿御苑。So this area is a part of that project.
Right, it's very close, yes.
Yes.
It's very close. And so when Jingu Gayan was established, it was, all this money was raised. It was Shibuzawa Ichi, was leading the activities.
Donations, yes.
The activities. And it was given to Meiji Jingu, saying it needs to be kept for enjoying the park-like environment and for sports for the people to be, becoming more physically fit, for amateur sports. And unfortunately, recently, there's been a trend of any space in the city that doesn't have a tall building, some people want to put tall buildings there. And so this plan to redevelop Meiji Jingu Gayan came into being, and they're going to be putting high-rise buildings.
Two of them.
Two of them, yeah. Two high-rise buildings plus rebuilding the headquarters of one company. So there'll really be three.
And the new stadium.
New stadium with a 60-meter hotel attached. They're changing the locations of the stadiums and getting rid of some of the sports facilities for amateurs and cutting down 1,000 trees, 1,000 large trees. And actually the small trees, like 3,000 and maybe more. So it's a lot, it's a very
How did you do that
destructive
project from the first place?
I just read about it in the newspaper.
And you started.
Well, yeah, because I started a petition because I had done another petition before the Olympics about the public viewing in Yoyogi Park. And so I already kind of had some experience doing a
It's
petition.
continuation.
It's kind of a continuation, like, okay, 1,000 trees, this is bad. People will probably not be happy. So really been working on this for the last year and a half. We have 280 18,900 signatures. So, and I said 218.
And you have submitted to whom?
Well, we submitted Yobosho to Koike Tochiji, to all the developers. So Nihon Sports Shinko Center and Meiji Jingu itself, and Itochu and Mitsui the Fudosan, right? So, and they seem to not really be that interested in listening to the public's concerns, unfortunately.
The same impression, yes. So you filed the lawsuit.
Yeah, so myself and teaming up with a bunch of people who live very, very close to Jingu-gayen. There's a large Tokyo public housing complex right next to the Ginko Namiki, or Icho Namiki. And so we filed a lawsuit against Tokyo government saying that their approval was not appropriate. And some other people have filed a lawsuit against Shinjuku, saying that their approval of cutting down the trees was not appropriate. So that's a new lawsuit that just has started a couple weeks ago.
So right now you're having two lawsuits against the developer.
Right. Well, no, actually, it's against the city.
The city of Tokyo.
They're Gyosei Social. So one is against Tokyo-to, and one is against Shinjuku. Yeah.
So far, what's going on?
So far, as you know, in Japan, lawsuits take a long time.
Right.
So we're still in the process for the main lawsuit. The next date in court is going to be October 11th. So as you know, it just takes a while.
So then, how did you find out the funding? Because we could do crowdfunding.
Right. So we did do some crowdfunding, not for the lawsuit. We also have a flyer that has information about the project called Gaien Future, and we did a crowdfunding for that. For the lawsuit, there's a large Genkokudan, and people contributed money, and then also members of the public contributed money to support too.
So have you written or any articles or text about these activities, or any video clip of the news site, the news report about your activities?
Oh, there's a lot of things.
So how they can reach to those information from your website?
Yeah, right. Well, I think the best thing that I want to recommend for people to do is to sign the petition. It's on the change.org platform. And if you sign the petition, then you will get regular updates from me about what's happening with Jingu-gayen. That's the best way to do it, because I will send at least once a week some message to all the supporters.
And also then you can be a follower of her Twitter. She covers all of these daily activities.
That's true too. Yes, I do tweet a lot about Jingu-gayen. That's true, yes. So this is my kind of outside, sort of socially conscious activity that I'm doing.
Then lastly about Sakamoto Ryuichi, because I've known him personally, and he established some organization. It's called More Trees.
Right.
And he was so conscious about the environment and also peace movement, and against nuclear, against war, no war activities, and even he published a book. It's called No War. He sang in 2002, right after 9/11, and he was so against about the retaliation to the Islamic State, Islamic people. Those kind of significant work, I have no doubts that if he would live, that he could join our movement.
Yeah, I know.
And more involvement.
Yes, I know. It's so sad that he passed away so early, and I wish that I would have had the chance to meet him. He wrote a famous letter to Koike Tochiji and the head of Kagakusho and the heads of Minato-ku and Shinjuku, asking them to rethink Jingu-gayen development. And in that letter, he talked about how New York is planting 1 million trees, doing the opposite thing.
Right.
And he said, for more information, look at this article. And he put a link to an article. And it was an article that I wrote.
You did?
Yes.
Which newspaper?
For Asahi, for their Globe online section. And I had written an article about American cities and their tree planting efforts.
So let me attach that article into this after this interview.
Okay, that would be great.
Then
yes,
you can take a look.
Yeah. So I was very honored that he, told people about my articles. He read my article, but unfortunately, I never had a chance to meet him directly.
So lastly, I need your opinion about the environment. This is Shinjuku Gyoen, and the main gate is over there.
Right.
And also, it's going to be only like 200 meters. There is a beautiful Kadan flower garden, and Japan Environment Agency, Ministry of Environment, had a plan to transport those contaminated waste from Fukushima to there. Tons of the waste, which contains the strontium 800 times the normal numbers. And that's killing those neighborhoods. But some reason, the limited people who started the anti-movement, and because of the resident, some didn't care about it, or the people who bought expensive condominium, they want to, make everybody silence because the value of the property might go down because of strong radioactive contamination.
Yeah.
So then, I don't know what happened after, because at least I knew they didn't fight the lawsuit against class action against it.
What I heard is that they, sort of put the plan on the shelf. So
for a while.
So we have to remain vigilant because the plan may come back sometime. You
have to be
always
careful.
have to watch.
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson had a famous quote. He said, "The price of freedom is eternal vigilance." So that means that we as citizens, we always have to watch the government carefully and make sure that it's doing what we, the citizens, want. So that's, I think, good advice for democracy.
Yes,
right?
good advice. Thank you so much. Now, do you have any short messages to the audience who might be interested in joining a new school? And can be a future, a potential female leader of the business world?
Right. Well,
because you've been successful already.
Right.
So
well, it's really clear that female, managers and executives are so important for the future of Japan. And so I, in the past, have had a chance to support female executives, and it's been wonderful. And I look at this as an opportunity to continue to do that. So I'm really looking forward to working with people and supporting you in your journey as a leader. 日本の将来にとって女性のリーダーが非常に重要で、今までもいろいろしてきましたけれども、皆さんのリーダーとしてサポートしたいと思いますので、皆さんの頑張ってる姿をぜひ応援したいと思います。
そう、大学を出た後でも職場で OJT で学べることも多いけど、このようにプロフェッショナルなセミナーやいろいろなプログラムを開発しているロシェルさんから実際の成功談とともに学ぶことは大きいと思いますので、ぜひ実践的なね、女性リーダーを育てるための講座を一緒にこれから開発していきたいと思いますので、よろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いいたします。ぜひ皆さんよろしくお願いいたします。
何せ日本は 15% しか政治家の中で女性がいない、それで2030年に日本の女性の取締役員ですね、経営者を 30% 増やすっていうんですけれども、ただ数増やすだけではなく、私たち女性自身がそのクオリティを自分で磨いていかないと、それにふさわしいものになりませんよね。
そうですね、なんかその場にいるとどのように影響力を持つのか、それもすごく大事なことですね。
じゃあそのように自分育て、自分をリーダーシップにふさわしい人間にこれから育てていきたいと思いますね。はい、初めてのインタビュー、今日は初回でしたけれど、ロッシェル・コップさんでした。どうもありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
第2回目は実はこの本が出てましてね、津田梅子さん、今度日本のお札に来年から登場されるそうですけど、やはり日本の女性の先駆けとして、国費で1871年にフ フィラデルフィアとワシントン DC に留学された方で、津田塾大学をエスタブリッシュされた方ですね。
有名な話ですね。はい。
で、彼女の本を改めて小説として出されたこちらの、児玉ひろ子さんが2回目のインタビューとして、またこちらの森の、音楽会を開いた森のスタジオに来てくださいますので、次回お楽しみになさってください。はい、ロッシェルさんでした。
ありがとうございます。
はい、以上です。